there at the end.
Although that was fairly close. That could have been called a strike.
Oh, absolutely. Very good pitch.
Yeah, it's close.
Too close to take, certainly.
Now Cody Clemens had a nice series against the Blue Jays. Takes a strike, 0-1. Playing a little third base tonight. Alec Boehm took ground balls. Still is not taking full swings as of yet. With that, I should say he's not taking them pain-free. There's still a little pain in that hand when he gets to a certain point with his swing.
Right, it is going to be a little bit different when you're swinging the bat in BP versus swinging the bat in the game. I've been through that myself. You know, it's a much more aggressive swing when you're playing in the game.
And a breaking ball at a called strike 3. 4 strikeouts for Aller. And that'll bring Rojas up.
Hey, Matt Yaloff here, and a little bit of a light schedule, so that's why you're seeing 2 games. On the left, Nasim Nunez is at the plate for Washington. They're up 3-0, and the reason why he's in the lineup, playing shortstop, C.J. Abrams really struggling, and Dave Martinez said, hey, give him a day off. So here you go. You have Nunez at the plate with 1 man on, 2nd inning.
23-year-old from the Bronx, grew up in Georgia. Marlins drafted him in the 2nd round, 2019, and again the Nats took him in the Rule 5. It's 1-2.
That's pretty rare you see Rule 5 position players, isn't it, Greg?
Yes, it is. Yep.
They must really like what they see in Nunez.
Yeah, you can hide relievers oftentimes, but position players, different story. And this ball taking off on Connor Joe.
Wow.
Over his head. On a 1-2 pitch. A double to right.
I can't wait to see where this ball was. Look at this.
Man, up and out of the zone.
Nunez is not a big guy. I mean, the way Connor Joe went back on this ball, you thought for a minute that he was just going to float back and catch this, and it just kept going.
That's his first extra base hit. Infield shortens up, and here's Dylan Cruz with a chance to add to the lead with at least a fly ball with depth and perhaps bring in a pair.
At the plate right now in Pittsburgh against Washington is Dylan Cruz, the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft out of LSU. They think the world of this guy, and he may be a household name sooner than later. And kind of brings us to this: the draft picks to reach MLB from last year's draft. Look at how many of them have reached, including 5 in the top 10. Paul Skeens and Cruz went to college together at LSU. Then Wyatt Langford has had just an unbelievable few days. It's almost like he won the lottery. This guy can't do anything wrong. Jacob Wilson, the son of former Major Leaguer Jack Wilson. Rhett Lauder, number 7. And you can read them for yourself, but Jake Bloss, number 99 overall, traded to the Jays from the Astros at the trade deadline. But what you're seeing is that there are more and more guys coming into the draft and being drafted who are basically major league ready, even more than 5 years ago. So something to keep in mind. And now at the plate, you have yourself James Wood, and he's been there most of the season, and he's something else. Let's kick back and watch him.
Couple of strikes on him.
Can't help but think by looking at James Wood's batting stance, he reminds me Lanky. Woods.
He's got the hair like him too.
Yeah, obviously a little skinnier than Josh.
Picked by Grandal, keeping that runner at third. James Wood out of the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida.
A lot of guys now these days seem to be coming out of the IMG Academy, Greg. I think they had 2 or 3 guys in the first round this year, a couple in the second, and I believe bullpen coach Justin Message, either his son or his nephew, or maybe both, were at the IMG Academy and both potential high picks.
Yeah, his nephew was drafted this summer.
Where was it? Do you remember where? Or
what round?
Yeah.
I want to say second.
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember him talking about that early on in the season, and I forgot to circle back with him. But he said he's a terrific young player that was at IMG Academy down in
Bryce Message, yeah, second round by the Brewers.
Wow.
Stays 1 and 2 on James Wood. Talking about similarities to Josh Bell. Well, he was involved in the trade with the Padres. Juan Soto and Josh Bell traded 2 years ago over to the Padres to get a handful of players, including James Wood. There is Pirates bullpen coach Justin Message.
Falter now, that's his 50th pitch of the night. I'd love to see him get out of here and possibly have a much quicker third, especially after giving the long night last night. The amount of pitchers used in the course of the last couple days.
24th pitch of the inning there by Falter. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons when we talked to Derek Shelton before the game, he did not want to do it, but he had to go with Tellez to save the pen for tonight. And there's ball 4. Bases loaded.
All right, so Washington with bases loaded on the right side of your screen. Philadelphia, very fancy. Oh, they did not turn 2. The point I was going to make on Philly, a couple of things here. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. He has not been pitching well. You know, you go back to last year, this guy was a stud. That's how difficult it is to stay on top of your game at this level of baseball. But if he has a good final 3 weeks, it'll be very interesting to see how he plays into the postseason for Philadelphia. The other thing I want to mention is Philadelphia is only 1 win behind the Dodgers for best record in the National League. So really, they're only a half a game behind them. And that's huge. So when you think a team is not playing for much because the division is so separated, incorrect. They're playing for home field so that as long as they're alive, they will hold home field in the NL portion and maybe even the World Series.
Yeah, Hensley's sort of from the cut out of that Weston Wilson type of a player. He's got some speed, some power. Very similar type of player, and there's some versatility to his game as well.
That pitch just missed down low, 89 on the sinker.
Well, those misses are excellent misses. I mean, keeping the ball down. A little bit more velocity on and arm speed in this inning.
Runner goes, pitches bounce toward first, picked up on a big hop by Harper.
right now, Washington and Pittsburgh, and here's an update on how they All right, so that's where we are right now. Inside the park we go. And Rowdy Tellez, who I believe pitched last night, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, he's a two-way player. You don't need Ohtani when you have Rowdy. Here we go. Let's do it.
2-0. He's fifth in the league in terms of innings pitched.
And the whip is really good too, Greg. 1.19 walks, hits per innings pitched, and that K to walk ratio 3.42. We mentioned prone to the long ball. That's why that ERA is north of 4, but
there's that curveball, Neil.
Yeah, it's a good one too. I would imagine as he starts to develop a little bit more, you'll see those numbers probably start to creep down, a la Jarrett Jones. I expect that kind of trend with him to go the other direction as his career continues on as well.
He's going to take a couple hops off the wall. On his way to second, the throw in from Hensley is not in time. It's a leadoff double, his 19th of the year. I think you're getting a pretty good indication too of how many Phillies fans are here. You can hear them in the background.
Kyle Schwarber was not waiting around for that slurve. He jumped all over this high fastball. Nice short quick swing to it, and he had to bust it because I mean, Hensley did a really nice job of getting this ball in, and he's got a pretty good arm. Threw a bullet to second base.
So now a runner in scoring position for Turner, who walked his first time up and then scored the only run for the Phils. Fly ball center field. Pache's going back. Schwarber's going to tag. It may be deep enough. Pache will get behind it. Schwarber's on his way to third, and he'll get there.
Kyle Schwarber, who just tagged up, is on pace for over 100 RBIs out of the leadoff spot. 105 is on pace for. He did not homer to lead off the game. For those of you keeping track of such things, he's done that 13 times this season. But here he is with a double, now on third, and Bryce Harper at the plate right now.
Have to be with this surface.
Right. Kyle Schwarber's not a blazer. He's not going to, he's going to probably take a ball that goes through the infield. I don't think that he's going to be going on contact unless it's like a chopper or something like that where he can score fairly easily on.
Bouncer over to first, and he's going to hold up at third. You're right. He wasn't going on contact. There are 2 outs with a runner at third.
A pretty good chance he would have been dead to rights on that particular play with Bride playing in. And this ball was chopped, but not certainly didn't get a whole lot of air into it. And no real possibility for Schwarber to score.
That one's bounced foul into the Marlins dugout. 2-1.
See his numbers with runners in scoring position. He's actually been pretty consistent as of late. 58 RBIs, 272 average.
Well, he lays off. That's close. It's 3-1.
Yeah, at the very least, he has now seen that pitch a few times. He did punch out on it earlier. We saw 2 or 3 of them in the first at bat. Now he's seen 2 of those. At least he knows the shape of it, at the very least.
Line drive caught by Berger at third. And the inning is over. Phils leave one over at third. They waste.
Hey, here I am again, Matt Yaloff with you. The Braves are about to begin, and you see on the left side, Reynaldo Lopez getting set to take on the Rockies. Lopez has a 2.0 ERA, the 5th lowest for the Braves since they moved to Atlanta. So that tells you where he is, rarefied air. And despite all the injuries on that club, they still hold a wild card spot by a half game over the New York Mets, who are idle this evening. So let's listen in right now. Atlanta and Colorado underway at Truist Park.
More than 2 plate appearances, and we need a laugh for tonight. We really do need this offense to explode and give the bullpen a break. The high leverage guys at the very back end have gotten a lot of work. It'd be nice to kind of breeze into this sweep if we could here tonight with a big win.
A 3-0 shutout on Tuesday. 5-2 last night for Atlanta. And now here we go. Game 3. First pitch called strike at the knees. Charlie Blackmon 2 for 5 in the series, and he has driven in one of the 2 runs for the Rockies here in Atlanta. All right, what do we know about home plate umpire Jansen Visconti?
He can get a little bit wide, and so certainly for pitchers, you like that idea, especially away to the left-handed hitters and also down in the zone. So it should be a little bit bigger than any other zone we've seen.
Laureano a couple steps back. He's got it. And guess what that leads us to, friends? That's right, Braves Racetrack defense. Laureano, Harris, Soler. And then on the infield, another day off for Whit Merrifield. Now, Brian Snitker did say he could be available off the bench if need be, but not in the starting lineup tonight. Ezequiel Tovar, a little late on the 93-mile-per-hour fastball from Lopez. You know, CJ really wondered after Lopez had that IL stint.
Oh, dropped by Dylan Cruz. He had it and dropped it. And Grandal was unaware. Took a while for Connor Joe as well, so it's 1st and 3rd, and the Pirates are on the board.
Triolo hammers this ball to right center field. It looked like Cruz at one point kind of put his head down and was running toward that right center field gap. And watch Connor Joe on the bottom of your screen kind of takes off and thinks he's got to retreat, then sees the ball on the ground. And Triolo, he's got to wait for Grandal to make a decision whether he's going to stay at second or go. And he thinks it's caught.
Wow.
Just mayhem. Officially looks like a hit at this point.
Now McKinney. One ball, one strike. And it goes as an RBI hit off the glove, almost off the wrist of Dylan Cruz. Kind of mistimed it. Big hack from.
He finds it. Took him a second, but one of the best in the game out there reels it in. And Lopez for the 1-2-3 top of the first.
Swings underneath it. Got that hole open at first base, Billy does. You want to get something in the air if you, or something up in the zone if you can.
Teams will run on Ruiz, but Irvin has done a real fine job keeping those runners close at first base. Wow, and he strikes out McKinney for the second out. Brings up Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
And pretty much came right at him. Looks like another two-seam that
he may have.
He'll be mad at me now.
He's going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
Because he is listening.
No doubt. I'll expect a text here shortly.
Edwards grounded back to the mound his first time up. And now he's down in the count 0-2.
I do like the way he's filling up the strike zone. Ranger Suarez throwing a lot of strikes. Generally, his misses are in the right spot where JT is asking for them.
Kenny. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa makes it a 3-2 game. Rips it into left field. Picks up his 8th Pirate ribby. Scores Grandal. Triolo to third.
Nice team baseball right here. IKF picking him up. Stays on this breaking ball. Shoots it through the 6 hole for an easy base hit. Triolo going first to third with no problem. Meat of the order coming up. Let's see if we can keep a 2-run rally going here.
On it.
Here's Connor Norby, and he takes a pitch for a strike. 0-1. Norby first time up, flight out to center field.
Brian Reynolds ties it. Ball dropped by Cruz, but that won't impact the play as IKF was going to third anyway, and it's a 3-3 ball game.
Well, this pitcher, Austin Gomber, Soler has 2 homers and 8 at-bats against him, and Gomber has taken his lumps this season.
The home runs have been an issue, the most in the National League. You can see the number there at 27. And just a 4-10 record so far this year. He's not going to overpower guys. The fastball sits at 91. Curveball, changeup, slider in there as well for the left-hander.
That's it. And it puts runners on first and second with 2 men down, and Berger's coming up.
Foul off the bat of Soler. 1-2. Well, that's a good sign. Jorge Soler, another hit.
Really good job here with a couple of strikes for Jorge Soler as he's going to be out in front of this breaking ball. Looks like he caught it off the.
So Soler has played 15 games going into tonight against the Rockies with the Giants and the Braves this season. And he's hitting .387, 6 home runs and 17 RBIs. So clearly he understands what they're trying to do to him, and he knows what he's going to do to them. And Marcelo Zuna, you could call him, I think it's safe to say, the Braves MVP for the year with all the injuries around the field. Here's Ozuna with a man on base.
Marcel, for him, he's in a little bit of a homerless drought. No homers in his last 14 games, but he's still hitting above 300 and .310 since the All-Star break.
And he will see a lot of off-speed stuff here from Gomber, especially when he gets to the middle of the lineup. Sparingly use on that 4-seam fastball. Lots of changeups, curveballs, and even sliders.
There's a changeup. Good job by Goodman back there to block it. So 3 games in the series, 3 different catchers. Yesterday it was the rookie Romo, it was the veteran Jacob Stallings game 1, and Hunter Goodman tonight. fouled out of play. It remains 1-2.
For those two younger catchers, it is nice to have a guy like Jacob Stallings, who is a great defender behind the plate. He's a great blocker. We've talked about that as well. And you're going to have young catchers in an organization that is likely going through another rebuild. That is a good guy to learn from.
Ozuna, solid single to left. Back-to-back hits for Atlanta.
And this one against the slider, and a very controlled swing here from Marcell. The lefty Gomber doesn't mind and almost wants to see the big swing, see you overswing on the off-speed stuff in the corners in which he is going to be aiming and looking for some of that weak contact. But Marcell really does stay within himself as he lines his ball to left field.
So a chance for the Braves to jump out in front in the first inning again. Remember, yesterday the Braves got 4 runs in the first, sparked by a Jared Kelenic 3-run shot to right. With a lefty on the mound, Jared Kelenic not in the lineup here this evening. Ooh. A little bit of a gift there, 1-1.
And that's what we're talking about with the wide zone that you're going to get from Visconti behind the mound, excuse me, behind the plate tonight, especially to those left-handed hitters.
So Matt Olson, they talked about Kelenic not being in the order against a lefty. Well, Matt Olson against lefties this season has hit 9 of his 25 home runs against a southpaw.
Hits the 2-1 towards Doyle. So he's made both plays defensively here in the bottom of the first. 2 away. Racetrack defense for the Rockies. Here's where Bud Black is lining up. Jones in left, Beck in right to go along with the captain of the.
And there is exactly what Neil Walker was talking about. That 4-hole. Dylan Cruz to the plate, and that's a 2-hopper. And Nick Gonzalez brings home IKF and Brian Reynolds, and the Pirates now lead it 5-3.
That is just tremendous, Greg. Use the 4-hole, and this is why Nick Gonzalez is going to be such a force moving forward in that, call it 4-5 spot, because he has a knack for seeing this ball deep. Look how deep this ball gets right here. He knows it's basically fastball curveball with Jake Irvin. He knows he's got that 4.
It's kind of interesting with Gomber, one of the guys that came over in that big trade with Nolan Arenado, and kind of feeling the pressure that he had to deliver. A lot of guys, you know, you go through a trade, maybe there's a big name on the back end. It's not your deal, right? You're not on the business side. You're just out there trying to play baseball, and really something you don't have to be concerned about. But he's talked about feeling like he's had to be great because of the big name he was traded for.
Well, the Rockies got 5 players in return for Arenado in that trade, and really they have not gotten a ton of production from the 5.
And that could also add to that pressure, right? As a guy who was already in the big leagues, had a little bit of time when he got traded over, and feeling like you have to be the man to justify the front office's decision.
Laureano, line drive that will drop in front of Jones. Around third, Soler, he's in, and the Braves are on top of the first.
What we talked about here for the righties facing Austin Gomber is that they were going to have to contend with the off-speed stuff, and all 3 hits in this inning so far for the Braves have come against a couple of curveballs and a slider, and it's a good job by Laureano to stay on it. Again, not pulling off too much. That's what he is trying to do. And a pretty decent throw there from left field, but not enough to get Jorge Soler.
So early offense again for Atlanta. And Sean Murphy, who got game 2 of this series off to rest, is back in the lineup tonight.
Base hit, the former Marlin, and a 1-out single.
You talk about attacking the baseball in the right way. This is a high fastball that he just throws his hands at. Nice level swing. And when JT's doing this, that's when he's right. Nice piece of hitting.
Pops it behind second base. That'll do it, but RBI single for Laureano, and the Braves up 1 after 1.
Brandon Marsh struck out his first time up.
A heat seeker too. It's a really kind of tough spot for you to be able to get out of the way of. But you're right, and it's actually paid off quite a bit for him because he stayed in there. He stayed balanced at the plate, not moving his head quite as much.
2-2. What do you think, JT off and running here?
He
3,
might.
2, 1 out.
He may very well, but Brandon strikes out at such a high rate.
Yeah, 38% strikeout rate since the 1st of June.
I mean, I like being aggressive because he's pretty long to the plate. JT still may steal it.
JT does go. Pitch taken high. Ball 4. Yeah, that'll put 2 on. The Phillies had 2 on in the first, and they scored a run. 1 on in the third, but now 2 on here.
Another solid at bat. I mean, by Marsh. I mean, he's been on base so many times over the last 3 games.
Suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of official jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with the Phils at MLBshop.com. Yeah, Brandon now has reached base safely 9 of 10. As Cody Clemens takes one in.
And I think some of the Phillies hitters have now seen some of the shapes of these breaking balls. First time through, probably had no clue as to how the ball would break and come out of his hand. I think they're getting a little bit better feel for it. JT trying to avoid the tag. That's not necessary.
And Fortes out to the mound to talk to the young right-hander. Well, not even young right-hander, somewhat inexperienced right-hander.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, young to us, Tom.
Well, that is true. Yeah, he's kind of fighting it a little bit. You know, he's gotten there's a couple pitches that he hasn't gotten in the first 3 innings or 4 innings. 2 balls, no strikes.
A pretty confident pitch, and he's got a lot of confidence in that slider. Slurve able to throw a strike in the 2-0 situation.
Putting runners at first and third. 10 up. Singles. Vargas singles.
He's got some wicked movement on that Slurve.
Sure does. That Slurve's got great rotation to it. Oh my goodness.
Boy, somebody from the Marlins dugout.
They're going to be awfully upset about that. That is a strike.
Attribute that to anything? Not necessarily, because I don't think the forearm issue was a big deal, right? I think it's just something that kind of Hannah was talking about a little bit, is that going deeper into the repertoire and having confidence with everything, including that changeup. Again, he was a fastball slider guy as a reliever, but to see this jump here now recently just tells me he's feeling confident in that pitch as he's bringing it along, maybe seeing some opponents second time around, or as word gets out about kind of the way he pitches, wanting to mix it up a little bit.
There's the slider. Brendan Rodgers down swinging. So 5 batters faced, 3 strikeouts for Lopez.
And a good one here. And again, this is the bread and butter off speed pitch, and really good slider there. Tighter, smaller break, and even finishing inside the strike zone. Always a good sign if you can get swing and miss inside the strike zone.
0-2 on Jacob Young. Curveball down the middle, fouled away. Hitting .338 over his last 21 games.
Said in. Uh-oh. I don't think that was in.
No.
All right, so the infield is in. Rojas is up, and he lines one-on-one, hop towards second base. They flip it to second for one, over to first in time.
All the way over that 400 sign by a good margin. And Tolia ties this thing at 1 apiece.
Just as we were saying all these great things about the Ronaldo Lopez curveball, this was a curveball. And we know this guy takes pretty big swings. That one stays up pretty much middle, thigh high. And I guess it's cleared Chattahoochee Falls. He got it to the green.
Yeah, that was crushed.
Hey, right into the plants. Michael Tolia, a former first rounder. It was back in 2019. He went 23rd overall. Hey, Jones takes one to left. You are watching MLB Big Inning on a Thursday, a quarter until the top of the hour. Matt Yaloff with you. A light schedule tonight with a couple more games. Will begin, let's see, coming up in the next hour. On the left-hand side, I'm trying to make out that ballpark. Oh, that's Arlington. Okay. You know, it's very difficult sometimes because they all kind of have the same or similar look. Angels and Rangers on the mound. Jack Kahanowitz for the Angels and Cody Bradford going for the Rangers. Two teams not going to the postseason. However, the world champion Rangers, with Bruce Bochy in charge, they are going to compete every single day. And the other game, Tigers and Padres, that's unmistakable. That is San Diego. And that is the Tigers and the Padres in Casey Mize and Martin Perez, who has been an amazing acquisition for San Diego at the deadline. He's been great. Padres, an MLB best 30-12. Since the All-Star break, that game begins in a little bit under 1 hour. Back to the games that are ongoing, and we're going to head to Miami, where Ranger Suarez is dealing with a man on base and a 1-0 lead.
And here's Otto Lopez. He hasn't reached it yet, but every time a Phillies pitcher records a pitch speed of 95 or more, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Lopez hit into a fielder's choice, his first time to the plate.
It's a sort of a big inning here for Ranger Suarez. He's sort of hit the wall in each of his last starts right around this time.
And Connor Joe's at third base.
They were adamant about trying to put this pickoff play on. The best chance they had was actually that first pitch of this at bat to Yasmani Grandal. Connor Joe, even if that ball is caught, he's safe. Just too high risk. That's too high risk of a play with nobody out, in my opinion, Greg. I mean,
Look how few times that works,
yeah.
Neil. And Grandal singles to right. 6-3 Pirates.
There you go. Infield's drawn in. Yaz gets a breaking ball that stays just on the inside part of the plate, right in the spot where you like it as a lefty. Doesn't get a lot of it, but gets enough to shoot it through the 4-hole.
Yasmani Grandal rips a single to right. Here's Jared Triolo. Triolo hit that ball to right field. Dylan Cruz went back toward the track, jumped up, ball hit off his glove or wrist, went for an RBI single, and hits this hard the other way, and again Cruz back, and this time backpedals in front of the track to make the catch. Little hard hit balls the other way by Triolo tonight.
Yeah, less than a 10% whiff rate, the swing and miss rate against that fastball, which is pretty low. League average is about 22%. So that fastball, more often than not, if it's in the zone and swung at, there is going to be contact. But all of his pitches across the board are below average when it comes to the swing and miss rates.
Another payoff pitch. Orlando didn't miss that one. One bounce off the wall. Orlando's going to have to hustle.
Nice slide.
What a slide. A little Orlando magic to get into second base.
Well, that was an absolute.
Once that ball was caught, you have to establish a base. You have to establish an actual base line as a runner. And from where he was standing, Hunter Wendelstedt must have said that he established that inner part, and when he went out to his right, out of that individual baseline, that he was considered out. Now watch Yaz. He kind of moves forward and then goes outside there.
So it's established there, and yeah, I mean, second base umpire calls him out of the baseline. The first base umpire said he missed him, which he did.
I'd like to hear that interpretation, though, but that's what I'm taking away from the situation.
He can get into the triple digits. He sits around 99, 98 miles an hour. He's got a handful of assists out there. We already told you about Doyle. He's got an incredible arm in the triple digits pretty regularly. Beck's got a respectable arm. They're all solid arms in the outfield here tonight for the Colorado Rockies. Okay,
I think he's safe.
Safe there. It's just a matter of when he comes off. Yeah, and I think I'm with you on that one. I don't think they're going to overturn this.
The call in the field stands. Runner safe.
Hey, 1 point for Brandon and CJ. And a double for Orlando Arcia.
How about the reaction there from Jones in left field? He wanted that assist in the worst way. Made a good throw. Nothing you can really do about it, but he was angry.
22nd two-bagger of the season for the Braves shortstop, and now here's the Braves third baseman, Gio Urshela.
All right, so here is that check swing.
Hey, on the right-hand side, you see Gio Urshela driving that ball deep to right to get the runner over. Arcia moves to third. Urshela was brought in from Detroit when Austin Riley got hurt and was, I guess, declared out for 6 to 8 weeks. And what a force he is in that lineup. And Urshela has improved. It's only a handful of games, I get it. But what a pickup. Another smart move. We've seen the Braves do it year after year under Alex Anthopoulos. They just know how to fill holes. Trey Turner follows Kyle Schwarber on the upper left. And there goes Trey.
Waits, and he'll make the catch. So 2 outs here in the 5th. And here comes Bryce Harper. Harper with 36 career home runs against the Marlins. He has 15 of them here at Lone Depot Park. Phillies wore the football jerseys to start off this road trip. Harp had the Jason Kelsey number 62 jersey on. Little old school Eagles. Breaking ball in the outside corner. 1-2. Well, speaking of that's basically the jersey he had.
Yeah. I think he borrowed it from him.
He may have.
Yeah.
Back toward the middle. And to his left is Edwards, and the inning is over.
Way in a 2-1 count. Shallow center. Is it going to drop? It will not. Tovar is able to make the play over his shoulder and keep it at 1 apiece.
Paul Skeens is pitching now. Ball weakly hit, and he can fly, and he is out on a nice play by Nick Gonzalez.
Well, and you think, Greg, in LSU's like scrimmage games and whatnot, that you would at some point you would think that Cruz would at least have stood in on a bullpen.
Yeah.
Or faced him. So it's interesting that we haven't heard that from either guy.
Yeah. Tomorrow, tune in for game 2 of this series against the Nats. It'll be the Pirates Cancer Support Game. Coverage starts at 5:30, presented by Allegheny Health Network. James Wood 0 for 1 with a walk. It's been a grind here for Bailey Falter. Gave up those 3 first-inning runs. Pirates answered with 5 in the second. Pick up another in the third. And James Wood, that ball comes off that bat with some life, but he is retired. Bucks up 6-3.
Hey, let me show you what went on earlier in the day. There were a few day games, Astros and the Reds, and there they are, the Astros in first place and feeling pretty good about it going into the day, 5.5 games up, and that's a fancy double play. Ellie De La Cruz can throw the ball 100 miles an hour across the infield. All right, no score. We're in the 7th, and that, my friends, is Ty France. And that ball, if not caught, may still be rolling around out there. It's a possibility. Bottom 7, it's a 1-0 game. So we go to the 9th inning now. Ben Gamel is facing Alexis Diaz with a couple out. And this is exactly why you don't say things like strength of schedule, because the Astros get swept by the Reds. So a team that's leading the division gets swept by a team that is under 500. Stop with the strength of schedule. The postseason picture, and there they are, the Astros on the left, 5 games behind the Guardians, and of course the Orioles right there, a little bit ahead of the Guardians as far as best record. And you see the wild card teams and also the teams in the hunt. We go inside the park right now, back to Truist Park in Cobb County, Georgia. And Reynaldo Lopez on the mound. It's a 1-1 game, a win for the Braves. And they pull a full game ahead of the Mets for that wild card spot.
He's got a few folks in the crowd and has for this series that have made the trek over to see him play. And he played his college ball at the University of Tennessee, so very familiar with the Southeast. 3-2.
Interesting to look back there at that pitch as if there was a question of whether or not it was in the strike zone. It wasn't even close.
Now the payoff. Fouls back to four-seamer.
Sometimes you see a guy take a pitch like that, look back, question whether or not it was in the zone. Kind of tells you he didn't see it very well, and so you think about coming right back with that fastball, which they tried away, but it missed middle in.
Yes, there's no question about that. 5 strikeouts the first time through the order for Lopez.
Yeah, and this one looking again, another fastball in that same location. This one even more firm at 97 miles an hour, and Sean Murphy could have caught that one with his eyes closed.
The Angels and the Rangers get going in about 5 minutes. In the interim, a break for Apple TV+.
Slow.
I mean, if he's thinking both of those were not strikes, and he's having a hard time understanding the strike zone, because again, they're not like on the corner and borderline, they're every bit a strike.
Lopez has thrown 37 pitches, already 10 called strikes. That's a pretty high number for that volume of pitches thrown. Charlie Blackmon puts it in play. Soler says he'll take it, and he does.
Part of that, I think, also goes back to what we mentioned at the very beginning of the broadcast, and that is that hardly anybody here in this lineup has seen Reynaldo Lopez, right? The guy with the most at-bats against him is the lefty Cave, and he is not in the lineup.
Now Ezekiel Tovar, who struck out looking in the first inning.
So Luke and Sabrina Brown on their honeymoon out in Portugal, sending
So it's a 6-3 game at PNC, and O'Neill Cruz is your batter. And if you don't keep track of the Buccos on a regular basis, you may not know that O'Neill Cruz was moved to center field from shortstop. 6'7". That's a tough position to play when you're that height. They moved him to center field. He's got a wicked arm. It might seem to be a very smart move. We'll tell. Time will tell, rather, if in fact it is.
Gets a call on that curveball.
Top of the hour, everybody. MLB big inning rolls on. Matt Yaloff with you. Light schedule tonight, but the Angels and Rangers begin at 8:05 Eastern time, which is 4.5 minutes from now. You got the Rockies and the Braves going on, Phillies and the Marlins, Nationals and the Pirates, and there are a few games during the day as well. It's a Thursday, a lot of teams off, and then Friday we're back to the full slate.
Scary.
Well, it's fortunate that it went right through him.
Well, if you call a fastball and you get a breaking ball, that's not great, but okay. When you call a breaking ball and you get a fastball, that's scary because you can't really react to it. Fortes finds that 4-hole. Not really a
Full September nights here is starting to kick in, and just a really great time of year.
Yeah, the dog days of August are behind us. Well, shallow left center, Bermuda triangle. At the last second, Jones takes it from Tovar. In that inning for Gomber.
Love work and footwork and everything stood the test of time. You know, a part of me was thinking, well, you know, you did this a long time ago, Maz. And as I did it, and as I tried to hone it in and get better at stuff, I realized it was the same. Use the bag, use your feet, and do what you can to get rid of the ball. And that's what he's telling me right there. You know, use your feet. Keep your hand close to the glove on double play turns from the third baseman and shortstop, and get it out as quickly as he could.
And the signed photo of Maz and Neil hanging in the house.
That's right.
Well, I mean, my gosh, Neil, think about that. I'm sure you did then. There's a Hall of Famer that's helping you over there at second base. It's great to see the former Pirates, and there have been so many great players, maybe not.
Broadcasters during the Pirate game are talking about the 1960 World Series hero Bill Mazeroski. Happy birthday, 88 years old, to Bill Mazeroski, who hit a walk-off home run in Game 7 of the World Series to beat the Yankees in 1960. What a, you know, that highlight, it gets played over and over and over. But happy birthday to Maz.
Ohio native.
Yeah, he is a Bengals fan. Line drive out to center. Pache starts in, now floats back, makes the catch. And 1 out. Be the first in line to secure a 2025 season ticket package before the public on sale date. Phillies have over 40 sellouts and counting. Season tickets are the best way to secure seats in 2025. Reserve yours today at Phillies.com/season deposits. Bryson Stott is 1 for 2. He's got an RBI single. The only run of the game.
School. He's talked about the facilities there. We had him on our radio show a few weeks ago, and he said, if I brought any of my Rockies friends, teammates now back to where I played college baseball, they wouldn't believe what I had to deal with facilities. And not a knock on his college, just the reality of D2 baseball.
100%, but he's been tremendous at the major league level. However, Lopez had his number there with a beautiful fastball.
He is really throwing what we call that glove side fastball, the ball that is away to lefties into righties with amazing consistency and good velocity.
Make it now 6 strikeouts for Lopez, and he got this guy
The
right.
Phillies will have a 2-0 lead. Bryson Stott smokes one into the second deck. It's his 11th home run of the year. It's the 3rd home run allowed by Aller this season. All 3 have come to left-handers.
Yeah, it's nice to see Bryson Stott heating up. He jumps all over this high fastball, and what a nice short swing. It's that top hand doing its work. He likes hitting here in this ballpark. That ball is crushed. Well out. They needed that second run.
We had a pitch outside to Real Muto.
Bryson really heating up. I mean, I like the way he's like his swings. He's not dropping to a knee or working underneath the ball.
Philadelphia, you know, they got the power game, and during their 4-game win streak that they're riding right now, they've hit 8 home runs. Now they've hit 9. Whether they win or not remains to be seen. On the bottom right, the game in Texas is about to begin. Cody Bradford on the hill, facing the Angels, and Taylor